What's up, everyone? Thomas here with ForReel, and we are once again back with friends to talk about our experience at Sundance, the final Sundance that's happening in Park City. And I'm sure we all had incredible experiences and all saw amazing movies, and we're here to talk about that. So joining me in my conversation today about Sundance 2026, we have Marty Millman, who is a member and four-time Sundance attendee with us here at ForReel. We have Sundance correspondent and producer of my short documentary, Matt Pyne. We have a co-producer of ForReel podcasts and film critic at Nerdbot, Derrick Murrey. And making his debut on ForReel content, I am super excited to welcome YouTube content creator, social media influencer, and film critic Dan Murrell. Gentlemen, welcome to the conversation. I'm excited to be chatting with you all.
Good morning.
Yeah, I'm excited too. Thanks for having me.
So Sundance, this was the last Sundance in Park City. I found it quite interesting that for the last Sundance, there was no snow, very warm. It was like a very odd kind of environment, I think, because I'm used to snow and cold and trudging through, harsh conditions. Any other knee-jerk reactions or experiences with how you felt about this final Park City? Derrick, maybe we could start with you.
Well, yeah, so I actually came super prepared for the worst weather you possibly could. I spent way more money than I should have because, as we all know, last year, Thomas made me trudge in the snow both ways, uphill, in mesh pumas, in slush, ice, and snow, and couldn't understand why I was so mad at him. So, so this year,
I love that story is going to live forever on our podcast, and
Yeah.
I don't blame you.
So this year, I was like, never again. It's not happening. So I bought 2 brand new jackets, snow boots, gloves, hand warmers, thermals. Like, I was ready, and then I showed up, and there was no snow on the ground whatsoever. I could have rocked mesh pumas the entire festival, and everything would have been fine.
That's hilarious. Dan, how about you? Tell me about what you thought about this final Sundance at Park City.
Well, I had no basis for comparison. This is the first time I've ever been. So,
very cool.
The most that I knew about Sundance was from that video of Quentin Tarantino fighting the photographer. I did, by the way, look up where that was because I had to find out where it was and found out. So for me, it was great. I was like, oh, this is easy. Walk everywhere. I didn't have that basis of comparison. So I loved it because I could get around. It was a little I also invested in thermals, and I was actually very glad that I did, because while there was no snow in the middle part of the festival, it did get pretty frigid. So I was glad that some of my gear was able to come in handy. But yeah, it was interesting because we got a foot of snow here in Arkansas while we were at Sundance. So it was very bizarre to see a foot of snow on the ground here and nothing in Utah.
That is odd. I mean, it is interesting because we had at least the east side of the country had that whole snowstorm, while the west side of the country, including Utah, was just kind of like sunny and fine. So that is an interesting observation. Matt, how about you? You are Utah based, and so you're already familiar with the environment.
Yeah, being a Utah resident, having no snow did not shock me. We had not had like a single inch of snow all year, and I know the skiers are quite upset with that. But yeah, I had a really awesome time. I mean, mainly for the fact that this was the closest our Airbnb was ever to the press theaters. That was a big plus for me.
That's really cool.
for sure. Yeah, I don't know. The vibes, I don't want to say like they were off this year, but I feel like people were just kind of gearing up for the move to Colorado. Just speaking with a couple of folks who were there or in line or what have you, like, I just feel like people were ready for that new fresh start.
Mm-hmm. And then it will be interesting moving to a different place. I'm still waiting for more information about venues and stuff so I can go book the next closest place now that I'm bummed because it took us 4 years to finally find like the
Figure it
best
out.
spot,
Yeah.
and then it leaves Park City. So we get to start that process all over again.
Yeah.
Marty, how about you? Let's get your thoughts on the final Sundance in Park City.
It felt like, I don't know, a Twilight Zone episode. Like, the first year that we went in 2023, like going into Park City from Salt Lake felt like Snowpiercer. Like I have never been around like that much snow before. And then like every year since, it's just been like kind of like maybe we'll get a little bit of snow, but then it's like kind of sunny and warm. And then this year it was just like no snow on the ground, like everything's barren, everything's brown. I was like, this is just strange. And I don't know, also like there weren't fights to get on the buses, but there were fights to get in the lines to the movies. So like it just like it was different from every Sundance I've been before. It felt different. It felt, I don't want to say off, but definitely not the same as the past 3 years for me.
Yeah, I don't know. Is this how Utah says farewell to Sundance? Is it more like a get out? It's like when I landed, I was like, oh, so this is what Utah looks like underneath all the snow. Like I didn't realize Utah had ground and grass. I just thought it was all snow.
Yeah.
So that's funny. All right, let's talk about the Sundance Festival. I want to kick off this conversation talking about the award winners. So every year, Sundance gives out a slew of awards to different films by categories and special awards and things like that. I just want to name some of the top prizes. For the Grand Jury Prize winner, the U.S. Grand Jury Prize award went to Josephine for dramatic competition. The U.S. Grand Jury Prize for documentary went to Nuisance Bear. The World Grand Jury Prize for dramatic went to Shame and Money, and then to Hold a Mountain for World Cinema documentary. The next Innovator Award went to The Incomer, and then Audience Awards. The U.S. Dramatic Audience Award went also to Josephine. U.S. Audience Award for documentary went to American Paucho, The Legend of Luis Valdez. The Audience Award for World Cinema Dramatic went to Hold On to Me. And then the World Cinema Documentary Award went to One in a Million. And then the next award for the Audience Next Award went to, does anybody know how to pronounce that?
Oh, no.
Just ask your great grandparent, great grandchild. You don't need to butcher the language. Okay.
For some reason, I put the name in my notes, but not the actual translation. But yeah. So and then there's a slew of other awards there, but like I want to get your guys' take on the winners here. Marty, let's start with you. What do you think about the films that won awards?
I really enjoyed Josephine. There were a few others. Hachan Shake Your Booty won an award, right? Didn't it?
Yes, it did. That was the jury award.
Directing.
For directing.
Yeah, that one was fabulous. I'm still middle of the road on Nuisance Bear, and I don't feel like I've seen too many other of the award winners.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Dan, what about you? How'd you feel about the award winners?
I mean, yeah, Hachan Shake Your Booty to me felt like a movie, and I'm sure we may talk about it later, but that felt like a movie in a non-Josephine year that had winner written all over it. I mean, that felt like such a crowd pleaser Sundance type movie, and I was glad it came away with something. The juries are interesting year to year because To Hold a Mountain, for example, I watched, and I struggled with that one a little bit, if I'm going to be honest. It was beautiful. It's a very beautiful film, but it was very slow, very slow. And the central premise of it, which I thought was interesting, the movie didn't really spend that much time on. And so, for example, One in a Million, which won the Audience Award, I actually liked much, much more. And it's why I always, when the awards come out, if I haven't seen the movies, I want to see what the jury's awarded their prizes to, but also I want to see what the audience liked as well. because the aesthetics of that can be very different. Nuisance Bear, I actually was a big fan of. It was. I just think when you look at the dramatic category, it was just such a dominant year for Josephine. I don't know if there was a movie in that field that really had a chance of breaking out. But I think that Hot Chon Shake Your Booty is one that I could see winning easily in a different year.
Yeah, when you code your movie with Dirty Dancing, it's hard not to be a crowd-pleasing banger.
Yeah.
Anybody remember last year when the U.S. Grand Jury Prize for Dramatic went to Atropia?
Yeah.
Yes.
I was
I
shocked.
guess I'm the only person in the world who liked that movie. Like,
You are. You
I guess
definitely are.
that and the jury, but justice for Haley Gates, I guess.
Yeah. I'm so upset. Burnout is a real thing, and let me tell you, I wanted to close the festival with like a sweet double feature of like Hot Chon Shake Your Booty, and then ending with my favorite film of the festival. But I got to the end of Sunday, and I just found myself starting movies and then just not completing them. Unfortunately, Hot Chan was one of them. And so I've seen 20 minutes of Hot Chan, and then I needed a nap. So I hope that goes to another festival here soon that I can get to. But I'm glad that everyone really liked that. Matt, what about your thoughts on the award winners?
I probably saw the least amount of anyone here on the podcast from Sundance this year, but I did see 18. Definitely Josephine was, spoiler alert, but it was far away my favorite. Really quick,
let me make a note. 18 because you're a Utah resident, you still have to work, and so you were working at your job throughout Sundance, and you still got 18 movies in. So like,
I did, yeah.
Still an accomplishment.
Yeah, a fair number online for sure. But I will say, like, with some history with the awards, the films this decade with Sundance that have won both the Grand Jury Prize and the Audience Award were Minari and Coda, and now Josephine.
Ooh.
So if we're talking about like awards a year from now, I would not at all be shocked if Josephine was in the running there. And then before that, last decade, I think the one was Fruitvale Station was the last one. So some pretty good history to look back on there, and not an enjoyable watch, I would say. I really enjoyed it, but just blew me away from anything else that I saw this festival.
Yeah. Derrick, your thoughts on the award winners?
Well, I think I actually quadrupled Matt's total. So
you did. Go ahead,
easily.
Derrick, go ahead and flex. How many did you watch?
So I saw 84 films.
Temporarily, how? Are you a Time Lord?
He had 3 screens on at one time.
Yeah. Three movies at a time for no. So I was just feeding it into my brain. I have the microchip. No, so some of that. So I cleared about half of the virtual slate pre-festival. And then I was able to catch some in person. So by the time I got home, and I have a day job, but I cleared out that whole schedule. So I watched, I don't know, an average of 8 to 9 movies a day from Thursday to Sunday, pretty much, to just clear out whatever I had left. So I had about 32 films left by the time I got to the virtual slate. So it was a lot of work. I do not recommend it. I feel a little bad for some of those movies towards the end, because I know, like, I watched The Huntress as like the last movie, and I know people are really high on that movie, and I feel like I probably would have enjoyed it if it wasn't the 84th film I'd seen in the last like 10 days. So that one fell a little by the wayside. As far as the award winners, I think the only 3 that I feel a little I feel some sort of way about is To Hold the Mountain. I agree with Dan. I know some people really love that, cinema verite type of style, but it really missed the mark for me, because it does have such an intriguing premise, and then it spends kind of 2 hours just ignoring that premise, versus something like 1 in a Million that has an incredible premise and sticks with that premise all throughout, the 10 years it took to make that movie. So I was a little out on To Hold Him Mountain. That one's really hard. Same thing with Shame and Money. I understand maybe what the allure is. I think it's really well shot. But that's another one where I don't know. I think there's a lot better films that kind of do the emotional devastation and the struggles of living significantly better than that. And then the other one that really surprised, I get why, because it does have a very crowd-pleasing vibe to it. But American Pachuco, what is it? Pachuco?
Mm-hmm.
Is like perfectly fine. It's like the most documentary of documentaries. It just feels like you could throw this on Netflix, second screen it, and still kind of get the general sense of it. And then as soon as La Bamba comes on, they're like, oh, this is fun. I'm like, that's not a jury prize winner in my opinion. But it's not bad by any means. Like I had a good time with it, but I just, in comparison to having seen so much of this slate, there's just infinitely better documentaries than that one for me.
I could see why it won, because I think it was the audience winner.
It was.
It's a crowd pleaser. I get it. And honestly, I didn't know anything about Luis Valdez. I agree. It is very much the most to form documentary that I saw, as far as like archive footage, talking heads. It does not break any barriers there. But I thought it was an interesting story to me, and it was an interesting subject. And Edward James Olmos doing the narration. I mean, come on. That's,
it's good.
It's good. I think it was really solid, but I agree. It did not break any molds when it came to how you make a documentary.
I think public access. How about that one?
I liked public access.
It did not. No, I mean, probably, yeah.
I watched that with my partner, and he lived in New York for like a good amount of time while public access was like a thing. So he was like recognizing a lot of the like characters that were popping up when they were discussing like the 90s of New York. He was just like, oh, I remember her. Oh, I would watch this. And I was just like, I don't know. I enjoyed that aspect of it.
I feel like I owe everybody in our Airbnb an apology, because I did not properly prepare everybody for when they fired up public access, because I'd seen it pre-fest, so I had included it in my curtain raiser. And naturally I'm not doing a review of the film when I'm doing the curtain raiser, so I'm not going to go into everything that public access goes. So I come back from a screening, and basically everybody that's staying with us, they're all firing up public access, and I was like, that's a wild one. And then like I went to bed, and I just like didn't explain to them that they were in for basically public access television porn. And then I came out like 30 minutes later, and they were like, what are we watching?
It's true. He said that's a wild one. And like, what does that even mean? I don't know. I guess we're gonna find out. Stay at our Airbnb. We just watch porn. Like that's
we followed that up with like Night Nurse. So I don't know what we were doing.
That was a rough day.
Real horny.
I also did enjoy public access. It did not win anything, unfortunately, but you want to talk about something different in documentary. There you go. I think I mean, I don't have a whole lot of objections here. The ones that I'd probably object to most I didn't see, and so I just kind of default to you guys for it. My interest in this award list actually is in the special jury awards, which I think Birds of War got the jury award for journalistic impact. Everybody to Kinmure Street got the jury award for civil resistance, and then the next creative expression award went to They Dream. All those are very deserving of awards and recognition, and documentary. Those are documentaries are really, really interesting for me. So
can I say something quickly about the lake?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Go for it.
So after watching The Lake, which is about like the Great Salt Lake drying up, and it won the special jury award for jury award for impact for change. I can tell you that I showed that to my fiance, and we're like, should we buy a house in Utah? I don't know if we should anymore. So changed my life.
Changed your life. Well done. I guess that's a good point.
I remember when they pulled it off the virtual slate for like a day, and I was like, oh wow, why are you guys being so whatever? And then they put it back on, so I watched it immediately, and I was like, oh, I get it now. I see why the government got real mad about this.
That was odd this year. They, after the twinless fiasco last year, I was worried, and but it didn't seem like anything got permanently pulled off. But there was weird things like Chasing Summer.
Chasing Summer,
Mhm.
what
Got pulled
happened?
off, but for press only, and then
Right.
but it was still virtual for everyone because I had a virtual thing, and then they pulled it, so I like readjusted my schedule and went to grab the press screening. But it was so odd to be like, I don't know if they were jumpy about it, but I did detect that maybe there was a little kind of hesitance after last year. I'm glad that it doesn't seem like there was a major problem with anybody pirating anything or posting clips online, because I got very annoyed last year with the whole twinless
as
thing.
everyone should. Well, last year, of course, we're talking about twinless being pulled because of certain scenes being leaked. But also Train Dreams was pulled on the last day as well. And so now we every year we have to go into this virtual segment with anxiety about what could get pulled. And it's annoying that trend is still here. I was kind of expecting, like, okay, we have this anxiety because it happened to us last year, but then we get through this virtual program, everything's fine, we move on with life. But then the lake gets pulled and then put back on, and Chasing Summer gets pulled, but only for press. Wait, aren't press probably the safest people to have this movie with?
You would think so. And the ones
I'm-
that you want to see arguably more potentially than
Right. I did not understand that. I was very, because I promised my husband and I were Eliza Schlesinger fans, and I don't I like to keep my marriage intact, and so when he wants to see a movie, I definitely hold off to make sure that we can see it together. And so I planned on seeing it virtually at home. And that was the plan the whole time. And so I had the virtual one, and then it got pulled, and I was like, well, Now, on top of that, I had an interview with the composer scheduled. So like I was expecting to watch this movie, the composer and the editor. But the only reason I was able to watch it was because I just so happened to buy a ticket to use as a giveaway. Sorry, whoever was looking forward to that ticket.
Just out here pyramid scheming your viewers. How dare you?
Look, I gave away the in-person tickets, okay? Like, we did that. So we actually did give stuff away. I'm sorry. Blame Sundance. I was really
The metaphorical meme of like you putting the Medal of Honor around yourself.
I'm sorry. The conditions changed, guys. But yeah, that was the reason I was able to see it. I just happened to buy a ticket, and it was sold out when it got pulled. So I think
it is a very strange way, because I still applaud Sundance for allowing for the virtual slate. I just think that's incredibly important, and it lets us as press be able to cover more movies. I understand why some filmmakers want the theatrical experience, and so they're pushing for that, and they feel like there's something lost. But truthfully, some of my absolute favorite movies of the entire festival were online. So, I don't think too much gets lost, at least for us. But it is kind of a double-edged sword, because yes, you have this great access to all these great movies, but if any of them can get pulled at any time, the first thing you go and do is you start your virtual festival on the highest note you can. And then you're not really, again, kind of talking to the Huntress, where like, I didn't really get to give the Huntress its proper due, because I'm watching it after all these other movies that took priority. Then by the time I get to it, it's like, I'm not really that into this. And I probably could have been if I could have arranged my schedule a little bit differently, but I got to front load it because Josephine might get taken off immediately. And it's like, well, that's not the best way to engage with cinema, I feel like.
Totally. Yeah. It's tough. The choices we have to make. I like to champion, these smaller films, but everything we watch is a risk. We have very limited time to watch as much as we can and do as much as we can with Sundance. And so it's so tough. How do you balance, trying to find the hidden gems, many of which you may not like or may not have been in line with what you want. And also try to watch all of the things that are going to be in conversation and that make what we do viable, because we have to be a part of those conversations. It's a tough balance, but I think we found some good ones this year. Before we get to that, though, now that we've talked about awards, I like asking this question every year. What award would you invent for Sundance, and what movie, what will your nominees be, and what would the winner be? So I'm gonna kick this one off, because there's a selection of films that come to mind when I was thinking of this, and my award is the most surprising reveal near the end of a movie award. And my nominees are, I guess I can't I can't say the reveals. You just have to know that there's like something that happens at the end of these movies. My my nominees were Z, which has a reveal about the nature of reality. Hot Water, which has a reveal about the main character's father's community. And then and then All About the Money.
I legitimately forgot about that until you said it right now.
I just couldn't believe that like I when it happened, I was like, wait, did I miss that detail, or are we all just figuring this out right now? Anyway, there's a reveal there.
The rolling tape nailed it. All of movies at Sundance basically fall into two categories this year: emotionally devastating or extremely horny. And there's a Venn diagram or some land right in the middle. But
it was so true, so true. My third nominee was All About the Money, which has a reveal about the character's past. And really, I think that the winner here is All About the Money. I really wasn't expecting, like, All About the Money goes in a lot of directions. There's a lot of topics to cover here, and you start with the thesis, and it has these natural branches into other things. But towards the end of that movie, the main character here reveals something about his past, and that just like it's a new detail that kind of elevates, or not elevates, but like really alters how I perceive his whole worldview, and kind of rewrites how I have to interpret why he does what he does, or how he thinks, why he thinks how he thinks. I was not expecting that twist, and so when it happened and that detail comes out, like that's when you know you have a documentary that is going to go to Sundance. That detail really like solidified that movie as something that made me rethink a lot of it, or maybe adjusted my perspective on it. So, anyone else see All About the Money?
I have another nominee that I feel like should go in your category, Chasing Summer. I feel
Chasing
like
Summer does have a reveal
at the end.
Definitely.
I would have never thought of that. And like I was at the premiere and people were going crazy. I was up in the balcony and I could see the people down below like freaking out at that reveal. And I was just like, oh my God, the people were not prepared for that.
I almost added that reveal. I almost did. I had the pleasure of talking with the editor about that reveal and coming up with that. I think the only reason that I didn't was because I think I felt like it was very adjacent to Crazy Stupid Love and that reveal.
Yeah.
And so it's like when I look at these other nominees, I think that there's probably like more original twists here, and that's just why they're the nominees. But you're right, there is a reveal at the end of Chasing Summer, and if you're not ready for it, it's like, oh, and it also happens at the most jarring point.
The most unexpected time for a reveal like that to happen.
Totally.
The whole last 20 minutes is just all reveals.
Yes, it really is.
Yeah.
In a movie that is not twisty, I don't know what's going on over there.
It's very firmly a dramedy, for sure. But yeah, then there's these twists that happens at the end. So anyway, good call out there too, Marty. Okay, actually, Marty, let's go ahead. Speaking of horny movies, Marty, let's go ahead and move on to your awards.
Category is so real.
I am a big believer in that article that came out that was like, everybody's hot and nobody's horny. I want movies to be horny again. I want movies to be erotic, and Sundance fucking brought it this year. So my award is for the horniest comedy of this year's Sundance. And my nominees are I Want Your Sex. What are the other ones? Wicker. And what else did I put on there?
The Invite.
The Invite, yes. Two Olivia Wilde films. She came back swinging this year, and I had a lot of fun with that. But my winner, I feel like, has to be I Want Your Sex. That movie pushes it. It goes there. It does a good job as well, kind of showing the difference between like hard sex and eroticism, and kind of the state that we're at right now, where so many people, they're learning about these kind of things come through technology and social media and stuff. So we're getting people who are more parroting kind of porn than actually like having a romantic interaction with one another. And I feel like it did a good job dealing with those topics, but still being like hot and heavy and sexy. Wicker also was more kind of on the funny kind of sexy with that. All I'll say is there's some bed breaking in Wicker that is fantastic, and I loved that. And then The Invite is definitely a lot of I feel like it's more on the comedic side with the horniness of it, but I just feel like I Want Your Sex like really hit the nail on the head with where we're at in society with when it comes to kind of Gen Z's view of sex and kind of some of the older generation's view of sex and how they're kind of at odds with each other and how we can get them to meld.
Mm-hmm. Good category there. Oh yeah, and your winner was I Want Your Sex, right?
Yes.
Very cool. Any thoughts on that winner?
I'm just bummed out. I tried for 10 days to get into that movie and I never could.
It is a bummer. I also did not see it.
Yeah.
Really, it was a tough year this year. I think it was mentioned people were practically fighting to get into movies.
Yeah, that the way you were with that one, Dan, I was like that with The Invite.
The Invite,
man, my Invite horror story is. Whew, I'm not gonna do it here, but it was
no, because I have it on film and I might put it in my documentary, so it is exclusive content. Cool. Yeah, Derrick, let's go ahead and move on to your award.
Yeah, so I mean, real quick on the horny front, really the amount of movies that were just sent. I mean, even movies that you just did not expect to be horny, just by the end they were just horny as hell. But I'm with Marty. Like, yeah, dude, we should absolutely push back on this stupid conversation about sex in movies. Like, it's a dumb discourse. Online is not real, and yes, we should be horny. It's okay. So yeah, I really appreciated that category. I feel like there were some category fraud here, and I think that there were a couple movies on this slate that genuinely have no business being at Sundance. Not that Sundance has any kind of box, and not that like everything has to be a Sundance movie per se. But my award category goes to movies that should not be at Sundance but should be at South by Southwest. So the first one is Buddy, which I very much enjoyed, but I just remember sitting there at that premiere just thinking like, God, South by would eat this up. This would like absolutely destroy if you just held off for 2 months and released it in March in South by Southwest. Like, this movie would do gangbusters over there. So that one, the other nominee is The Shitheads, which I just don't, I enjoyed more than most, but again, it's one of those ones where you're just watching it and you're like, why is this here? This is a Sundance, this is a South by crowd, 100% big time South by crowd. And then the last one, which is a movie I am still kind of conflicted on. I don't think I hated it like a lot of everybody in our chat. But The Best Summer also feels very much like a South by movie. It is, first of all, it has no business being in the midnight section. That I just do not understand.
That was
why
odd.
it is there. Yeah, it was so weird to put that in there. And again, same thing with all midnighters, right? Like, they don't all have to be horror movies. I totally get that. But this one just has no connection to the midnight slate whatsoever in any way, shape, or form. So, but also, you know, South by has a lot of music type of festival things that are baked into it. Performers go there, they give out music awards, like they have all kinds of things that go on there. This would have been the perfect documentary to drop at South by. So those are my three nominees. I will say I think the winner probably will go to The Best Summer. I think The Best Summer feels the most South by coded, and I was very surprised to see it at Sundance.
I think what I'm most mad at, because like you said, it's not that Sundance has to be, you know, it doesn't have to be a Sundance movie. Midnight movies don't have to be horror. Like, you don't have to put these boxes around things. But I get kind of angry when I think about The Best Summer in midnight. You took a whole midnight spot and gave it to a documentary concert movie. when we could have gotten something genre bending, we could have got. I mean, I even if there was like a psychological thriller or a drama, like something that has some semblance of why I would want to watch this at midnight. Who's trying to watch this concert movie at midnight? Like, what was the thinking there? Somebody explain this to me. I don't know. Yeah. Did anyone else see The Best Summer?
I was going to, but then I kind of heard people talking about it, and I only had time for 38. I'm not like Mr. Captain 84 up here, so I switched it out with something different.
Yeah,
good movie. Probably for the best, honestly.
It really is. I think. Okay, Matt, we're moving on to you. Give me your award category and the nominees.
Some of my favorite memories from Sundance are my theater experiences. So I would say for my category, I'm choosing best theater experiences. I don't know how you would exactly like pick an award winner for this, but like maybe like a clap-o-meter or something. But my three nominees are number one, The Shitheads. Not a huge fan of this one, but I just love like a good comedy, good slapstick comedy with like a huge crowd. Like I feel like at Eccles that would have played pretty well. My second one was I Want Your Sex. I was at the premiere. That was an awesome theater experience, like completely star-studded. Like if I look behind me in the crowd, it was like nothing but celebs. And then my number three was The Gallerist. And I was able to see this one with Darren. For some reason, Darren and I just pick like awesome movies to go to in person. At Sundance, we have like the best luck somehow. And that is going to be my winner, The Gallerist. Nice. I know it was not for everybody, and it was like there was a lot of walkouts at my screening, and from what I heard, other screenings too. But Darren and I were like cackling the entire time and just having the best time with it. And that type of humor, especially, really seems to play at Sundance for the crowd who likes it. Yeah, it's my pick.
You saw those are three movies I did not see. I didn't get to any of those three movies. So thank you for making me feel bad about not going to them.
No, Matt lucked out big time. Like when somebody looked at his request, they were like, "What are the highly requested movies that everybody wants?" Oh, these five. Matt, here you go. Like he just got, like back to back, every highly anticipated movie, he just got a ticket for it. Yeah, absolutely wild. I stand with Matt though on The Gallerist. I know I'm by myself, and I know we're on an island, but I friggin' love that movie. So
I envied the people that got the big, because I think I put I Want Your Sex on my request form for every single day of the festival, and not one ticket came through. One. But I got lucky, and I got lucky on the invite. I got lucky on a few others, so I'm not complaining. But
yeah, that's again, it's really tough to get to all of these. Dan, let's go ahead and continue with you. What was your award?
So it does seem like, because I've been doing Sundance virtually for a few years before I went in person this year, it seems like every year there's a weird convergence of like plot where several movies have the same plot. And so my award is best movie about a woman returning to her hometown. These three aren't even the only three in the festival.
Great pick.
So my nominees were Chasing Summer, which is about that, Carousel, which is about that, and Bedford Park, which is about that. And my winner's actually, it's a movie that almost everybody else I talked to was very lukewarm on. And my pick in that category would be Carousel. And I think for me, the thing is, and I say this about movies all the time, is one of the things I love about movies is that there are movies that can be written in such a way or can have a story in a way that they're just very personal to you, and they feel very tailored to you, and they speak to you in a very specific way. And that's what I got with Carousel, because, you know, I'm not a small town doctor, and I'm not a lobbyist or any of the basic plot stuff of this movie. But a lot of what the characters in that movie were going through or feeling kind of mirrored a lot of what's happened in my life for the last year or two. And I felt that, and it's not just like that I recognized what was happening to the characters. To me, the writing was very authentic, and the way that Chris Pine's character specifically expressed himself. And there's a scene he has with his mentor, who's played by Sam Waterston, that was such a well-written scene. And again, I watched it and thought, okay, whoever wrote this has gone through the same kind of stuff that I've gone through, and they can express their feelings in a way that's very poignant to me and feels very true. And so that was a case where, I say you do have to prioritize, but don't always necessarily listen to just the buzz, because you never know. You could actually find a movie that is very personal to you and speaks to you in a very personal way. And so among the many other movies, Take Me Home was another one that was about women returning to their hometowns. For me, Carousel was the one that stood out the most.
Yeah. I because of the lukewarm reception, I ended up not getting to Carousel, unfortunately. Also because of feedback, I didn't get around to Bedford Park either. And I look forward at some point to seeing Bedford Park and of course Carousel. But yeah, that is an interesting commonality you've come across with all these movies.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely in there. I did not care for Carousel, but I could understand why it would speak to some people. I will say to Dan's point, there's an argument in Carousel that happens after like a dinner that I was like, why can't the whole movie just be this? This feels like the most authentic argument between two people I have ever seen in my life. Like the camera is just like completely still. It's like really uncinematic. And it's literally just two people arguing in the kitchen. And while I didn't relate to a whole lot in the movie, I was like, I've had a fight like this before. Like this exact fight, I've had this fight before. So there are definitely moments in this movie that are like that for sure.
Yeah. Cool. Matt, Marty, did you guys get to see any of these three films?
Yeah, I really enjoyed Bedford Park. I was a little confused in the beginning. I was like, how is this relationship blossoming? Like, if it started the way it started, I would never want to interact with this person, like, ever. But then, halfway through, I was just like, I don't know. I was feeling for them. I was rooting for them.
This is why. So actually, when I say feedback made me change my mind on seeing these, what I really mean is Derrick very, very strongly said, Thomas, you might not enjoy these movies.
Yeah, I have a feeling that you would see that first interaction of Bedford Park and be like, okay, these two will never speak to each other ever again. And then they're like helping each other out. And it's just like, wait, what's going on here? Like,
yeah, guys, this really sounds like it's going to raise my blood pressure. I get so annoyed when characters don't make good decisions and intentionally. Like, you have to do some heavy lifting to recover from that in my book.
I know I am very aware of my own cinematic sensibilities, but if there was a second place for someone that I absolutely understand when it comes to cinema, it is Thomas. So I will watch something and be like, wow, that was really for me. Thomas is gonna hate this movie, and I just know he's just not gonna be dialed into it. So
one day I'll get around to Bedford Park, and I'm sure I'll be like, Derrick will have my first reaction. and
just remember, both of these characters are messy, and they're like putting themselves in these like circumstances because like they just don't know any better. They just are like, I'm just going to keep putting myself through this shit over and over and over because they just sadly don't respect themselves. But by the end of the movie, they like, I don't know, teach each other to do so.
We will see one day whenever I get around to Bedford Park. We'll see. That's a fun category, guys. Thank you for really creative categories and nominees. I think that was a great discussion. Before we move on, I just want to do a shout out to a couple things that help make ForReel coverage possible. I want to shout out Alpine Distilling. If you're ever in Utah in Park City, absolutely go check out Alpine. They just have great spirits. I love their whiskey, of course. And honestly, their lounge is just this awesome vibe. It's just a really cool vibe with great people and great service. And I cannot recommend it highly enough. If you're in Park City, go to Alpine Distilling.
They have great waiters too.
Yes, they do.
They really buy into the horniness of so. Wait, no, that's not what it is. Service is good. Got it. Okay, sorry. Continue.
That's funny. I also want to shout out Fifth Leg Table Reads. If you are a writer or actor looking for a community to be able to practice your craft in a convenient virtual capacity, Fifth Leg Table Reads is a great place to get that practice and experience, and with a very supportive community of people who are all trying to do the same thing. I've done it a couple times and always look forward to the opportunity to join in on a script read, and it's a lot of fun. So you can find them at fifthleg.com. And also support ForReel and everybody on this podcast, guys. I'm going to put links in the description so that you can go follow each of us and share content, and really find ways to support us just by following us on social media, commenting on this video, sharing, and yeah, engaging with us. That's what we do. That's why we do this, is to engage with people. So be a part of that. Okay, guys, let's move on to the meat and potatoes of this conversation. Let's talk about our favorite films at Sundance. And I know we're probably gonna have a lot to say about it. So here's what I'm gonna do. We're gonna start with our third favorite film. And we'll just rapid fire go through, everyone name your favorite film, and then we'll kind of navigate the discussion from there. So we're going to start out with the third favorite film, and I'll start. The one that I put on my list for the third favorite, which was kind of a surprise that I liked as much as I did, was Hot Water. Derrick, what was your third favorite?
My third favorite was The Only Living Pickpocket in New York.
Yeah, Matt?
Mine was American Doctor.
Marty?
Broken English.
And Dan?
There's several I could put in the top three, but I went with Burn.
Yeah. What a diverse set of films. I want to start with Living Pickpocket because this is probably the one I am most sad that I missed. Derrick, what makes Only Living Pickpocket your third favorite?
Yeah, I was I was so blown away by this one, not because it is overly cinematic or overly thrilling. It's actually a pretty strong, like, slow burn type thriller. But I am such a sucker for films that make their location almost a character in the film. So things like 1001 comes to mind, where New York is a breathing, living character in this movie. And The Only Living Pickpocket absolutely has that. It is one of those movies where there is no other city where you can make this movie. You can't change the title to be like The Only Living Pickpocket in Los Angeles. It just doesn't work. Like this, the New York is such an integral part of everything that goes on. And it honestly just beautifully follows this pickpocket. It has a lot of ideas about the past and the future and the present, and being kind of out of water in your own city, clinging on to nostalgia falsely. And then it just plays like this beautiful 70s thriller. It's got this nice little like 70s aesthetic. It has an immaculate ending that's like you just do not see it coming, and it's just so good.
Okay.
These are the kinds of movies I love.
Stop talking about it now. I am so mad. I missed this movie, and you were making me only more envious that I could not see it.
Listen, I actually, so this was a movie, this was one of those ones where I saw the still, I saw that it was John Turturro, and I didn't ask any other questions. Didn't even read the long line. I was like, whatever, I don't care. So when Tatiana Maslany shows up and just heat checks for 5 minutes, because that's the only screen time she has, I was like, wait, she's in this? And then I was like, wait, she's giving like an Academy Award performance with this 5 minutes she has on screen. I'm all in. Had no idea Steve Buscemi was going to show up as like a kind of old school sleazy pawn shop owner. Like, bro, this movie is, I love this movie. This movie is so good.
Did anyone else?
FOMO over here.
I know. See, me too. Did anyone else get to Only Living Pickpocket?
I absolutely adored it just as much as Derrick did. I would say it's up there with Tuner for like best jazz score of the festival. Like
Tuner's score is so good.
Oh, yeah.
I know, and this really matches it. Like my first thought coming out of this movie, I was like, this feels like something my dad would have shown me when I was a kid. Like it's so good. Like they're not making movies like this anymore, where it is still a noir in a sense, but it's like more character driven. Like there's this big drama that's going on here, but you're really just mainly focused on these characters and the intensity that they feel. And when Tatiana was the reason I chose to watch the movie. So like I knew nothing else. I was like, oh, Tatiana's on this. And then when she shows up about like halfway through the film, she's like that emotional core to it. And you just like are really just like feeling this movie like so raw. And yeah, I was really amazed too. And I can't remember the actor's name, but there was a kid in this movie, or not a kid, he's like 20s. But he just like really rocked this like sleazy asshole kid character.
Yeah,
And
almost like a tech bro in the mob kind of deal is what the vibe he gets off. He's really good though.
Mm-hmm.
The numbers may not bear me out on this. Maybe I'm wrong, but it feels, because that movie premiered on like Wednesday, Thursday. It feels like there were like half as many chances to see that as the summer documentary was. There was like 15 screenings, it seemed like, to go see that one. I had like 3 chances to see Pickpocket, and none of them worked out, either for scheduling reasons or because there were no tickets and the wait list was full. And it was like, well, wait, how come you had 12 chances to see this movie and it feels like I had like 3 to see this one?
Sundance programmers like to play this game of like, how stressful can we make this situation for the most anticipated movies? Because I'm trying to think, the P&I was on the Monday, right? It was that Monday morning.
Yeah.
And then the premiere was on Tuesday evening. Those are the chances you had to see the movie. Like if you're there for the first week, I think there might have been screenings later on that week, but they would have been in Salt Lake or up in
they weren't easy to get
Kimball.
to, I'll tell you that much. There was because I tried.
So as a press, being there for the first week, you had Monday morning and Tuesday evening. That was it.
Yeah.
And I mean, some people even leave on Tuesday. So like, you know, the premiere wasn't even an option for a lot of people. So you're right that programmers probably looked at this and very vindictively said, we're going to make this real difficult for them.
Yeah.
In fact, I would argue like those late festival premieres, I think those should have 2 P&Is. Like, I think not everything can have 2 P&Is, but when you're premiering that late and press don't have the opportunity to be at the premiere, you should have 2 P&Is for that.
There was a whole list. It was Only Living Pickpocket, The Wait, the AI doc,
See You When I See You.
It's a Heroine, See You When I See You. There's a whole collection of them that were like, no, these are only playing in the very last week of the festival, and here's the premiere, and 20 minutes later, here's the P&I. Good luck.
Good luck.
And I got an email that's like they added a P&I for the last summer. Which one was it? The
Best Summer.
The Best Summer. They got an email that's like, we're adding a P&I screening for the Best Summer. I'm like, why? I can go buy a ticket right now. I'm killing myself to get into I Want Your Sex and Only Living Pickpocket. Like there's all these movies. You have one P&I, it's done, and it's always at the same time as like 4 other movies, and then they don't add any for those, and they're like, but here's an extra P&I for like all the movies that you have a chance to see or you can watch online. It's like come on, let's give us all a shot here. Let's what are we doing?
Yeah. It's a struggle. It's a real struggle.
Real quick, Marty. So that kid's his name is Will Price.
Mm-hmm.
And he was actually in A Complete Unknown, After the Hunt, Eleanor the Great, and I remember him now, but he was in Poetic License from TIFF.
Yeah.
And he's very funny in that movie. He's actually really funny in that movie. Yeah.
Thanks for doing that research.
You're welcome. Got you.
Dan, you had a really tough choice. Tell me what made Burn your number 3.
Yeah, I mean, I think the reason it got into my 3 is because number 1, I figured probably nobody else would pick it, so I'd get a chance to talk about it. And also, it was a great example of a movie that was not on my radar. Unfortunately, I think I bumped your number 3. I bumped Hot Water to see it because I kept seeing, like, I heard people talking, and I heard several people saying Burn. Have you seen Burn? I was looking online and trying to see what people were talking about, and I kept seeing Burn pop up, and I'm like, okay, maybe I should check this out. And I did, and I just thought it was one of the most artistically distinct movies that I saw at the festival. just the way that it's shot, the way that it immerses you in this world. It's about this girl who runs away from home. It's an abusive house, and she goes to Tokyo and falls in with this group of orphans. And what I loved about it is it's just as conceptually disturbing as kids, but it takes a completely different approach to that story, where it kind of draws you in with her. And the way that it presents this world at first is like, oh, she's found this place of belonging. She's found all these people that are like her, and then here's these people, this guy that kind of takes care of them, and it's a tough life, and then it slowly reveals the dark side of it, the underbelly of it. And you realize that you have been taken in the same way that the main character has, and then you see the darkness, and you see the longer it goes, it gets a little more surreal. It gets a little more abstract, not too abstract, but enough that you kind of feel like you're on your back foot along with the character. I just thought the story, the form, the way that it was shot and edited and put together, it was just so memorable to me. And so well done, even though it is about it. Just, it gets dark. But
this might be the bleakest movie of the festival.
It was bleak. It was definitely bleak. It is not a feel good movie. But there was just so much about it that was like, wow, that is not like anything else that I saw this year. And not only that, I thought that it told a good story. The acting was strong and all that. So I was like, yeah, I'm glad I listened to what people were saying, because this was not on anybody's list, I don't think, of things you should watch or things that are the best. It was just, I kept seeing this name pop up. And I think the last day that I was there, when I was making my final selections for online, I was like, okay, I'm going to dump a movie that might be safer, and I'm going to give this one a shot. And I was glad I did.
So what I'm hearing is double feature Josephine and Burn.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you'll have a great time. Yeah.
Speaking of kind of heavy watches, Matt, what was your number 3? American Doctor, right?
Yeah, I went with American Doctor. Just a really affecting and devastating documentary. It's about these 3 doctors. One's Muslim, one's Jewish, and one's Zoroastrian. And they go to Gaza just to help out with the children and the women in the hospitals. And I was 20 minutes into the documentary. I'm like, oh, this is 100% a lock for a doc feature for next year for the Academy Awards. Like, it's just, you just know when you're watching it that you're in such good hands with the filmmakers. And it was, if we had a category for like, I need to look away award, that would just definitely make it. But that's the point of the documentary, is like, you can't look away. You have to like experience what they're going through, and have to like, just have that compassion. So it just really affected me. I saw it like, I think it was my first online watch, and I'm like, damn, this is kind of setting the bar pretty high. This is my first watch of the fest.
Totally.
Yeah, it's a good pick. And it's funny that you mentioned like wanting to look away, because that's literally how the documentary opens.
Yeah.
Where they literally, it's no spoilers, but the movie starts with the documentarian and focused on this doctor's laptop. And he's got all these pictures, and she's like, oh, I'm going to blur these out. So she's got them all blurred. And he's like, no. You need to know exactly what's going on here, and you need to see it. If you blur it out, there's no point. Like, we don't need to talk anymore. And then, and then it gets revealed of what it is. And it's just, if you're not locked in by that point, like this isn't for you, but it is just, that's a really good one. And then just real quick on Burn. I've seen them all. So, but real quick on Burn, I do think one thing that really stuck out to me about it is the way that it takes its bleakness, because it is incredibly bleak. It's incredibly dark, and it's really unsettling. But I think that artistic creativity of taking something so dark and then just imbuing it with bright, vibrant, surrealist color is such an incredible way to get what you're trying to do across. It never undercuts the other. So you always recognize that what they're going through is really difficult. It's not trying to like put sunshine and rainbows on like the worst thing that could ever happen to a runaway teen. But it just draws you into this world and really allows you to kind of access it. And then once you realize what's happening, you really can't get out. It kind of traps you, and that really puts you in that perspective of the main protagonist. So I thought that was really creative for that movie for sure.
All these heavy movies. Marty, please tell me that Broken English was a little bit more lighthearted.
I would definitely say it is. It's the most like experimental documentary I've ever seen. I wouldn't even consider it a documentary, but I guess it kind of is. It's very avant-garde in its format. So it's about the life of the artist Marianne Faithfull, who I went in knowing just barely enough about. And so instead of having a documentarian like going over her life and doing talking head interviews, they have Tilda Swinton and George McKay, and George McKay is basically like playing this character who's digging up archival footage of her life, and they are going over all of these different interviews and pictures and times, and it's more of a conversation you're having with someone instead of just like having the information kind of told to you. It feels kind of like you're with a grandparent going over a scrapbook, and you're actually like getting to know someone instead of just a story being told to you. And then they also do these certain elements where they're intermixing music and doing covers of her songs and doing these kind of experimental ways of showing the art form, and then talking about collecting memory and preserving memory, and how there's also an interesting bit in there as well where they Tilda Swinton's character is talking about the reason that they're doing this is because everybody is imperfect, and AI can't be trained on an imperfect model. So we need to be focusing more on everybody's kind of individual aspects and their imperfect qualities. And I thought it was the most interesting story too. Like I loved hearing Marianne's music, about her life, about how so many men kind of just wanted to see her as just this pretty blonde girl and didn't want to listen to kind of her harder aspects in her music, and how songs like Sister Morphine could be sung by men but not by her. And I thought that was really interesting, but the way that the story is told, I just thought elevated it so much more, that this is someone's life you will never forget after watching.
Yeah. It's great. This documentary like really kind of blew me away. I was thinking about the best way to like describe it to someone, and because it really doesn't have a comp. Marty's right. Like there's nothing. I've never seen anything like it ever. But the only way that I can kind of describe this movie is, imagine if you're in like the Marvel universe, and imagine the TVA wanted to do an investigation into a single person that was still alive. And so like the TVA just shows up and they start walking this person through their life as they're trying to construct something from all these different strings of multiverse, even though it's just one person. And that's like the fictional bubble that this whole thing kind of exists in. And then as they're digging through it, they start kind of uncovering some of that documentary stuff that you're looking for. It's absolutely fascinating. I knew nothing about her. Like I'd never even heard of her name. And as soon as I left, I was like, oh, I need to know everything about her now. I need to know her entire
the whole
life.
rest of the fest.
Yeah.
The whole rest of the fest, all I did was listen to Marianne Faithfull's music. Like my entire final time in Park City, Utah, if my headphones were in, I was listening to Marianne Faithfull.
Yeah, it's fascinating. You've never seen anything like it. You're absolutely right.
I missed this one too. I hope at some point I can get around to it. But this is it premiered at a different festival, so hopefully it's working its way through the festival run, and I'll be able to get around to it. When it comes to Hot Water, though, my number 3 pick, like I went into it expecting that I would enjoy it, but I like the amount of enjoyment I got out of this, mother-son road trip was just so much more than I expected. And I can't really put my finger on exactly why. I think the performances were just really good. There was really great chemistry. And I just found myself locked in. Like I just really want to know like what's gonna happen. How is this, kind of problematic son gonna reconcile with this also kind of overbearing mom. It was really fun to watch, and especially seeing the pit stops that it makes, and the character growth that happens. I was just so locked in. And then of course it is the winner of my award for, oh no, it's one of the nominees of my award for most surprising endings, and so there's that as well. So yeah, I don't know, I just really vibed with this movie, and I think that's just kind of the movie that it is. There's not anything like super dramatic that happens, except again the end. But yeah, I don't know, guys. Explain to me why I like this movie so much.
It's a crowd pleaser, like
Yeah,
it is. Yeah, you're right. It is a crowd. Yeah, I guess you're right, Marty. It is.
it pulls on the heartstrings. It's emotional.
Yeah.
Dale Dickey, right? She's
Oh,
like
yes.
fantastic in it. Like you can't have a Sundance without at least one movie with Dale Dickey, And so like she like comes in and you get that kind of like
there's a whole lot of Dale
Midwesterner,
Dickey in
like
here.
oh yeah.
Usually there's a lot of Dale Dickey.
yeah,
Yes.
true.
Dale's Dickey.
Yeah, so yeah, that ended up really high on my list, and I'm really happy about that. Let's move on to number 2, and I think I think we'll go around again with rapid fire. For me, I have to give a shout out to Kikuyu Land. That was my number 2. Derrick, what was yours?
I'm changing it up on the fly because I'm looking at my letterbox and realize I'm actually going to go with the AI doc, or How I Became an Apocalyptimist.
Nice. An apocalyptimist.
I think that's how you say it. I
Right.
think that's what it is. Apocalyptimist.
Yep. Marty, what was yours?
Wicker.
Dan?
Leviticus.
Matt?
If I go, will they miss me?
Let me tell you something. We have some banger number 2 picks here. Okay. We have banger number 2 picks here. Dan, I'm going to start with you and Leviticus. So Marty and I know we were very vocal in our pre-fest conversation about how much we were looking forward to Leviticus. And I think the whole team kind of had it on our radar. But man, that movie, talk about why it's your number 2.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's interesting. Early on, Saccharin was kind of the hot ticket and the one that everybody was talking about, saying like, oh yeah, I saw Saccharin. This horror movie is really good, really good. And I think Leviticus maybe was night 2 that it premiered.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I just kind of on the spur of the moment, I decided to waitlist it. I'm like, I'll try to get on the wait list. I got an opening, and I got in, and I saw it, and I was just like, I mean, Saccharin was good, but this movie, I was just like, oh no, this should be. Whenever anyone would say Saccharin, I'm like, have you seen Leviticus? They're like, no, I didn't see it. I'm like, you have to see Leviticus.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, first of all, it's just a really good, effective horror movie. And not cheap. There are some jump scares, but they're not cheap jump scares. Conceptually, I think that it's just a very good horror concept. The idea of there's this thing, this entity, this whatever you want to call it, and it takes the form of the person that you're in love with. So you have to second guess, okay, this person that I trust more than anybody in the world, now this could also be the thing that kills me. So am I really talking to the person that I love, or am I talking to this monster? Just purely as a horror concept, I really like that idea. It's like It Follows and The Thing kind of mashed up together. And then you add sort of the queer horror aspect to it, and the idea that it's this metaphor or commentary on or whatever on conversion therapy, and the idea of sending your child to be cured of this sickness that you think that they have, and what that can unleash and what that can result in, and the self-doubt and the projection of those feelings. And it just so it was just like, it works so well metaphorically, it works so well literally as a horror movie, really well acted. The Aussies, man, they're doing some great stuff with horror. I mean, not that they haven't always been, that the last few years they've been on fire. And I just really really liked this movie, and I mentioned it on my channel. Derrick, I don't know if I talked to you about it, but I was sitting at the premiere. I was behind the team from Neon. Because they had, they got their badges on, and like somebody literally stopped by on the way down. They're like, "Congrats on your Oscar nomination," because it was like
Right.
the day after. So I was just like, "Okay, now these are high ups at Neon." Okay, and the second the movie ended, they all got up and walked straight out, and I was like, "All right, that seems really good or really bad." They either had no interest in this movie whatsoever, or they were like, "Let's get on the phone." And I was very happy to see a couple days later that Neon had bought the movie, because it felt like a movie that Neon can handle well and can distribute well. I don't know. I really liked it. I thought it was very good. I kind of have a soft spot for Aussie horror, the Babadook, and Talk to Me, and Bring Her Back. I mean, they've all been movies that I loved, and so I was happy to see that it actually got picked up.
It's so funny.
I wish so much that I would have talked to you right before I was about to see Leviticus, because I would have seen Leviticus if I had talked to you. Because who I talked to didn't have the same hype on it, and they were like, "Yeah, no, it's fine."
Who did you talk? No, I guess I won't.
I'll tell you after. I don't want to out him. But yeah, this was I saw the premiere of The Wait, which ended like right at 11, and then I had a second screening ticket for Leviticus at 11:55 at the library, which would have been fine. It would have totally made it a second screening. Would not have had a problem getting in. But I was just like, you know what? Do I really want to do one more? That'll make it like 5 or 6 today. I'm kind of burned out. We're towards the end of the festival. And my friend was like, "Nah, man, it's basically just like Queer It Follows, and it's really slow." And I was like, okay, well, yeah, maybe I can wait for that one. But now hearing Dan talk about it, I'm just like, well, this sounds like it would have been awesome. So yeah, I should have talked to most of you guys actually before.
That's right. To clarify, I think I remember this conversation now, because I don't want you watching it burnt out. It does. There is a little bit of a slow burn quality to it, and which I think is why a lot of us compare it to It Follows. Because there is kind of a build up, and you kind of have to stick with it. So I think I remember that now, and I don't know, 84 movies into a festival, I guess, or wherever you were at that point. Would you have been up for a midnight movie at that time? That's right. Okay, I forgive you, but now you have to go to South by and watch it there. Okay. Marty had the chance to cover this red carpet. And it's interesting, the comparisons to It Follows, which I thought was just kind of arbitrary. Like, it just has the same vibe. But I think it was Jeremy who plays kind of the third. Call him a third wheel. I don't know. Jeremy, who says he listened to the It Follows soundtrack. Right. He listened to the It Follows soundtrack to like get into character and to like, get into the mood of making of being this character. And so yeah, I think there's a lot of like parallel to not parallel, but like, I don't know, just similarity to It Follows.
There's definitely a lot of parallels. Like, let's look at the opening scene of both of the films, very similar. The final scene of both of the films, very similar. Even just the way that they use the town that they're in. Like, It Follows had Detroit. Can't remember the town in Australia, but they've moved to this, and it's kind of poor community, and everyone's a little bit more isolated, and there's all these kind of abandoned places, and they really do have a lot of simpatico, but I feel like do enough to establish themselves as different films. And I really appreciated the ideas about the conversion therapy, about it's like, oh, we're trying to cure you, but it's really a curse. And then now if I try to give in to like my actual like desire, my like, if I just want to be with the person I love, it's going to hurt me now. And like, that is just like so sad and so depressing. So like for the movie being as heavy as it is at certain points, like you really do get that relief at the end, and that like made me so happy.
Totally. Really quick other note, Joe Bird, he was in another film, a short film called The Worm, and it's so interesting how it's so interesting how both movies are about his character needing intervention. Um, and I don't think it's funny because I asked him about that on the Worm's red carpet, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I guess that is the thing." The director of the Worm, he's like, "I guess Australia just really likes torturing Joe Bird."
Yeah, no kidding.
Also, I think the Worm is an RFK Jr. biopic. That's just my on that one.
Marty, let's chat a little bit about Wicker. Why is that your number 2?
I love Olivia Colman. I love her so much. And if you put her in like an old English type of film, she's gonna have fun. She's gonna say some raunchy shit. And I love too how this felt almost like a Disney fable. Like I know it's like if you watch it, you're like, what? But it's like the beginning where she's like trying to sell the fish felt very like the beginning of Beauty and the Beast. And like if you take out some of the kind of like adult jokes in it and like a few of the material things, like it really does just feel like this honest kind of family fable that you'll hear at the campfire, you know? And it just very homely. And yeah, there's a lot of conflict in the film, but it just it made me so joyous and so happy and gave me this like childlike giddiness watching the film. Like I saw their love story and I loved it. And seeing too kind of this community that sees this person as an outsider, but he is so intent on putting himself in this community and making him and Olivia Colman's character just feels so welcomed by these people that originally were trying to do their best to exclude them from everything, are all realizing, oh, we are just small-minded, and this guy really does have like the sauce to life, and we need to listen to him, and we need to open ourselves up more, and we need to be kinder and just friendlier to each other. And I really appreciated how much the film makes you want to just be a human being to one another.
Wicker was a really popular one this year. That was one that a lot of people were trying to get to. Did everyone make it? I didn't get to it. Did everyone else make it?
I got in on the last screening that it had. I jumped on the wait list and got in, and I was very fortunate. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was third in line for the P&I, but then left the line because I finally got a ticket to the gallerist.
Right.
Which I showed you guys some of the emails. I quite literally begged this PR person. Like I straight up acknowledged my desperation for how much I wanted this ticket. And then when it came through, I was like, well, I can't just not watch it now. Like
Yeah.
I can't do all of that. I can't be like this horrible, desperate person in their inbox and be like, that's okay, I don't need it anymore. Like, no. So yeah, I missed my one and only chance to see it.
Yes,
I
everyone.
think it'll get picked up. I think it'll get picked up very soon.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Documentaries have landed in our number 2 spots. Derrick, why don't you talk about why the AI doc was your number 2?
Yeah, listen, I love Daniel Roher. I think he is just such an incredible documentarian. I think he's an incredible filmmaker. I really liked the way that this one not only encompasses the entire conversation of AI. One thing that I think Daniel does really, really well is as you're sitting there watching it, when you start questioning, like, well, what about this? He's already 10 steps ahead of you because he's asking that question as well. So, you know, you wait an extra 10 minutes and then he quite literally asks the question that you were wondering whether or not he was going to ask. And then it kind of transitions into that new part. So just a really, really smart documentary. But I think the thing that separates this from a lot of other AI docs, there was another one here called Ghost in the Machine, which I didn't really care for the packaging of it. I think it's way too manically edited and overscored. But Daniel brings a incredible personal approach to this conversation about AI, because it's fueled by his own fear of AI and what it's doing and all of those things. But then he also is about to have a kid, and he is wondering what the world is going to be like with AI when he brings a kid into this world. And so he's really driven by these existential crises that he has in his own personal life. And that greatly influences the conversations he has about AI and how he's approaching it. And so he really just locks you in with his personal pursuits and then really unpacks every single aspect of the AI conundrum. Really smart, really personal, surprisingly funny. Yes, it gets a little bleak, but there is some hope in there. And then his wife, and I'm gonna blank on her name, but his wife is like the MVP, and it's just proof that behind every great man, there's a greater woman with more sense and more cinematic sensibilities than him. And so, yeah, they have some great banter. He asked her to kind of like narrate some of this stuff. It's not everything that you think. So if you look at it and you're like, oh, great, a documentary about AI, I would recommend to just kind of stay those reservations and just kind of dive in, because Daniel does a lot of really great things here. It's very accessible. It's incredibly crowd pleasing, I think. So yeah, I was very excited about this doc.
Mm-hmm. This was another one that was like end of the festival.
Yeah, yes, end of the festival.
While we're praising Daniel's wife, I saw her film Your Monster at Sundance a couple years ago, and fantastic movie. I can't wait to see what she does next.
Yeah, she's so good in this. I know it's a documentary, and he's literally just talking to his wife. But you're like, oh yeah, everything good that happens to you is because of her. That's it. That was what I learned.
I really want to see this documentary. Ever since Tuner, I'm paying a lot more attention to Daniel. I actually went to one of his panels at the festival, which was fun to listen to him talk about the AI doc, even though the panel was before any opportunity to watch the documentary. I wish that was a little bit better planned so that at least I had the chance to know what you guys are talking about. But no, it was still a good panel. And it's just interesting. Daniel just like doodling and scribbling the whole interview. he's such an interesting guy. I want a documentary on him. Cool. Did everyone else get to the AI doc, or was that one that was just too late for everyone?
No, I missed it.
Yeah, me too.
Trying to get a screener because I've got an interview with Daniel in March, I think.
What?
So I'm going to be interviewing him about Tuner, so I was like, maybe I can try to get a screener and talk to him about both films, but we'll see.
It looks like it'll be in theaters next month on the 27th. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, nice. So, I also had a documentary as my number 2, and it was Kikuyu Land. Anybody who knows me knows I've been on this movie since before the festival. I had a chance to screen it ahead of the festival. Talked with the directors Andrew and B, who are wonderful people, which is its own benefit aside from the fact that I really, really did enjoy this movie a lot. I think that I think it calls to attention a very important topic when it comes to colonialism and land as identity and heritage and on top of the main subject that it's trying to address with work conditions and how poorly people are treated in the benefit of corporations. On top of that, there's this really personal story for B, and the things that she discovers about her heritage and her family that she has to grapple with. And I think it's just such an excellent example of journalism in film. It's, I watched this and it never, the thing that I think about is like, I want to aspire to this kind of journalism, to be this honest and this truthful and this transparent about how I'm unfolding a subject. It's really admirable. And I could see this documentary going, to really prominent places. And I hope it does. I think it's really, really good. Did anyone else get the chance to see Kikuyu Land?
Yeah, I threw away all my Lipton tea afterwards.
Yeah, right.
This is a really incredible one. I think this one is overall, I think this one creeps into like my top 15 out of all the movies that I've seen, because it really is that good. It's a pretty incredible documentary. I really enjoyed it.
Especially with how they had to film it, because it's one of those documentaries that had to really be filmed kind of discreetly. I don't think they marketed it as one that was filmed in secret, but like there's a lot of sensitivity and a lot of consideration for people's safety that had to be taken into account while making this documentary. And that's something that really impressed me in the conversation I had with them. How do you proceed with making a documentary that risks the well-being of the people you're making it about? Like, how do you know to move forward with that? And it's just very fortuitous that that it ended up at Sundance is getting the exposure that it is, because this is a topic that could have been really detrimental to the community. So yeah, anyway, I think there's a lot of great things about this documentary that makes it my number 2. Matt, I held you off for last in the number 2 category because you're about to talk about a film that is going to very quickly transition us into our number 1 picks. So tell me about why, if I go Will They Miss Me as your number 2 and not your number 1.
It's a very good question.
It's okay. I think your number 1 is pretty worthy, but like
yeah, I went chalk there, so it's fine. I would say it was the most beautifully shot film that I saw at Sundance. Like I 100% thought Extra Geography was going to be my number 1 in terms of like cinematography. But it was gorgeous. It was a lot of influence from Barry Jenkins. And I know this was a short film before it was a feature, but I just saw so much like Beale Street, so much moonlight in this film. And it's a really cool concept because it's basically centers around this young boy who kind of sees the world and his environment through like the lens of like Greek mythology, which is kind of an interesting concept. And he just really wants to express himself, and his father is not at all emotionally equipped to be able to handle that. Just an amazing performance by the kid, by Daniel Brooks. Like, it was just overall just really blew me away. And I think I heard about it from you first, Thomas. That's kind of what put it up my priority list.
About this movie. I will not shut up about this movie.
Yeah, it's just, I'm really excited to see where the filmmaker goes next, and it just seems like the perfect film to be like a launching pad for the future.
This movie, Derrick can attest to this, right? I think I can tell this story. If I can, I'll edit it later. But look, we were packing on Tuesday night and getting ready to leave, and Derrick realized he had the screener and that it expired. And so, I had already intended, like, the title is already just like I gotta see this movie, right? So I had already planned on seeing it at home because it was a virtual available. But we were just like, let's just throw it on before the link expires, give it a watch while we're packing and doing whatever we're doing before we leave. The way we put down everything we were doing when that kid started talking about Pegasus, okay, way we locked into that movie, everyone in the Airbnb just locked in on that movie, and it just had this hold the whole time. I thought that I was going to like this movie, but there's, as you're mentioning, the cinematography. By the way, this is my number 1. If anybody was questioning this, and Derrick's too. So we're actually going to roll through pretty quickly. The way it's filmed, it's beautifully shot. I also, the score, I need that injected into my veins. That score is fantastic, right? The writing is awesome, and when it comes to like portraying this tense relationship, or this like tough relationship between the son and his dad, I think that this is such a great way of doing it, like Matt said, through this lens of Greek mythology and the view of the son seeing his dad as a god, and the dialogue that comes with that concept, and that comes with trying to like internalize that. I watched this movie twice. Okay, so we watched it that night, and I absolutely ended my fest. I was burnt out at the end of the festival, but I turned on If I Go Will They Miss Me so I could watch it one more time before I not know when I can see it again. And Oh my gosh, this movie is so good. Derek, go ahead and
yeah, I mean, I don't have that much more to add. This movie is simply stunning. Matt mentioned Barry Jenkins, but there's also a lot of Ramel Ross. Nickel Boys.
Yeah.
Nickel Boys was one of my favorite movies of that year. And this one has not, direct styles, but it's clearly pulling, cinematic language and inspiration visually from things that Ramel Ross does when he goes to push the boundaries of what you can do in camera. And whenever this movie takes flight, which is a big thing, a big part of this movie, but whenever it chooses to do that, whenever it wants to kind of take you on a little bit of a journey that transitions into this dreamlike, kind of ethereal, almost surrealist interpretations of their emotions, this movie is almost a masterpiece when it's doing that. And I think this director does an incredible job of keeping everything grounded, even when he's trying to do that, even when he's trying to get things to soar. You never forget that you are living in Watts and you are living in, a struggling community that kind of comes together and does what they can do to survive. You never forget that they're around the corner from LAX. And so fights are happening all the time over them.
So many shots of like planes just like in the sky and the background. It's
just simply stunning. And it has one of my all-time favorite lines from the festival, which happens at a really important moment. But one of Big Ant is the father. But one of his friends basically looks him in the eye and tells him straight up, "Don't be afraid of how he sees you." And that line, just even out of context, it's a pretty solid line, but in the context of the movie, like it just absolutely floored me. Like it locked it in, and I was like, "Yep, this is it. Like this is the best thing I've seen at Sundance." I adore this movie, and I need someone to pick it up, and I need way more people to see it because it is phenomenal.
Yes. It's so good. It's so good. Every single year, I leave Sundance just like with a movie that I will not stop talking about. And for a long time, for most of the festival, it was Leviticus. Leviticus was my number one. And it is a movie that I'm still going to squawk about for the rest of the year, right? South by Southwest, folks, go see Leviticus, okay? Like, do it. And it's great that Neon picked it up. But I think If I Go, Will They Miss Me will be the one that I talk most about that nobody can see. And I could see this movie. I hope it gets picked up, but I just need it to get to more people. Anyway, I digressed. Was there anyone else who wanted to sound off about If I Go, Will They Miss Me?
I wish I would have seen it.
I know. I'm sorry, man. It's good. It's really, really good.
I was surprised that not that many people were talking about it, because even people that were, even if you walked away kind of mid on it, there's still a lot to praise. I couldn't believe how few people were having.
There's 89 movies. It's and that's not counting episodic. That's not counting the legacy. Like it's so hard. I can attest. True. Someone who did not end up seeing the movie. It is so hard trying to prioritize and figure out which movies you should try to make room for and which ones you shouldn't. And it's impossible.
Like when we plan our schedules, we have to prioritize, like, okay, in person, there are only movies that are in person. You have to get to those. You can't see them virtually. And so it's so unfortunate that If I Go, Will They Miss Me, because it was a virtual movie, it was a high priority, but because it was virtual, I kind of shelved it for virtual at home. And if I could redo Sundance, I would, knowing what I know now, oh my God, that movie would just ruin me in a theater. You know, I would absolutely go back and be at the world premiere of that movie. So yeah. Dan, let's move on to your number one.
I mean, I feel like, my top three there's some movies I knew would come up. Like Josephine is definitely up there, but I know that there's other people going to talk about Josephine. And one that didn't come up was When a Witness Recants, which I really loved. I thought that was my favorite documentary in the festival. But I felt
they removed that from virtual too.
Did they?
At least they did that before, though. They did that before.
Give us a little bit of heads up. Yeah,
I'm glad I saw it then.
That was, I ugly cried for 40 minutes. Like once the tears started, they just did not. So there was no point in trying to wipe them away because they're just going to keep coming back.
It's so good. But I felt like, whenever anybody would ask me about my favorite movies of the festival, I would list off, The Wait and Tuner and Leviticus and Josephine and When a Witness Recants. But I always felt like when I mentioned The Invite, there were so many people that were like, yeah. Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's sold. But real, talk about the real movies, and it's
Oh,
like,
boy.
so I wanted to bring up The Invite because it was my favorite movie of the festival. And I do feel like there's some people that are like, yeah, but come on. It's like, I understand. I get it. It's got movie stars in it. There are a lot of other movies that are going to have to fight harder for exposure. It's sold for $10 million to A24. It's fine. I understand that. But it's also a really, really, really good movie. It is, first of all, a great comedy. And I appreciate a great comedy in that it doesn't just make you laugh. Because I saw Gail Daughtry in The Celebrity Sex Pass, for example. Laughed my ass off in that movie. But also, there was so much in that movie that didn't work. Because they were just throwing joke. And it was just like, whatever. And that's the style of that movie. To make a comedy that is as consistently funny as The Invite is, and I'm talking about constant laughter almost throughout the entire film, and not have those dead spots that a lot of comedies have where they're just trying to throw out, that really is an achievement when you're making a film like this. The performances I thought were great. Seth Rogen's funny. I think that but this movie is tailored to what he does best in a way that also gives him, he's not just playing Seth Rogen, he's playing a very kind of complicated character that you figure out more about over the course of the film. It just plays to his strengths. Olivia Wilde, same thing. You learn so much about her, and then you bring in Edward Norton and Penelope Cruz. Like, when you think comedy assassins, Edward Norton and Penelope Cruz, maybe not the first two names you think of, but they're both hilarious in the movie as well. So you make a really funny comedy. It's consistently funny throughout, well written. And then at the end, you're able to successfully transition that to give it some heart, to actually give it. It wasn't just laughter. These characters arrive at a destination that is poignant, and the ending is even not set. There's kind of an open-endedness to the way that the movie ends. And so, I get that when you're talking about Sundance, of course you want to platform the indies and the filmmakers that nobody knows and the actors that nobody knows. But I do feel like there's been this kind of move from a lot of people to dismiss The Invite because of its pedigree and because it sold for so much. But I don't want it to get lost in the shuffle how good that movie is and how entertaining it is. And so, and it was, I think, in a very, very tough year, I think it was the favorite thing I saw at the festival. So you can call it chalk, you can call it whatever you want. But I'm going with The Invite.
How good that movie is, how incredible it was, how much Derrick should have seen it.
Yeah. Out of 84, I saw 80% of the slate. And the one movie I didn't get to see is the one that sold for $10 million and that nobody will shut up about and is on most people's favorite lists. Yeah. And actually, the only reason Thomas got to see it was because of me in the first place.
Thank you, by the way. Thank you for that. I am very appreciative.
I harbor a lot of PTSD when it comes to The Invite. So.
We're a bit over time. We're going to move along pretty quickly here. Marty, I want you to talk about your number one, which you just published a review about, actually.
Before I do, I have to say about The Invite. Like, I think just from the opening credit scene alone, you can tell Olivia's finally found like her directing style. Like, I feel like in Booksmart and Don't Worry Darlings, it's still kind of still trying to figure it out. But just from the opening credit scene alone and the way that the film is shot, you've got a chamber piece, but visually it is never boring, never, ever boring. And that just like really gets you in it. Like, you are in that apartment with them. And I just thought that was spectacular.
Yeah, I've heard the script is absolutely electric. Like, just an unassailable script that even if you had a seat warmer director, you'd still be able to make a really good movie.
It's a great script.
Just what I heard.
Rashida Jones,
I don't know.
Rashida Jones is always like, you gotta love her.
Yeah.
But my number one is Z. And I think I'm on an island alone with this one. Everybody I've talked to either does not like this movie at all, or is just like, it's all right. Like, I don't know. Kogonada, like, just something about him speaks to me so deeply. Like, I see myself myself as a very spiritual person, and like his films are always like such a grounding presence for me. I feel like this film, like there's no point in ever talking about the plot. Like, yeah, the plot is there, but it's really about the emotion of this film. It's about tapping into your senses and being present in this world, you know, making connections with the people around you, interacting with the city that you're in, and just remembering that like we're all human. And I just really, really appreciated how much it's one of those films that like you walk out after and then you're just like looking at the world slightly brighter. Like, you know, those like meme on Twitter where it's like the girl, she's putting on her purse and she's like, oh, leaving the movie with like a completely new personality. It's like, that's me, like leaving his films. I just feel like I'm born again. Like I almost had like a Reiki cleanse or something.
I love it. Kogonada is Marty's religion.
Basically, yes.
Z was one that it started off kind of slow for me, and it took me some time to warm up to, but I did land pretty favorably on it by the end. I like the abstract concept that it presents but doesn't need to explain. I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, I was pretty mid on it, but I wasn't sure if I was going to like it, and so I put it off towards the end of the festival. And I worry that might have been a mistake because it does have some really interesting ideas. I don't know that it all grabbed me the way that it grabbed Marty, but I went into it thinking, wow, this is probably going to be on the bottom of my list, and I ended up actually kind of getting won over by it. It's not in my favorites, but I can see its allure for sure.
Matt, bring us home with the one movie that everybody is talking about. What was your number one pick?
Yeah, it ended up being Josephine, which I feel like was the consensus number one from the majority of festival goers. This is the one movie that I saw with you, Thomas, actually.
Yes, that's right.
And we walked out of it and we had, some differing opinions, I would say, on the film, but we both agree that it's a very, very frustrating watch for a multitude of reasons. You're frustrated by the situation. You're frustrated by the parents. It's a very difficult watch, but it's just an incredible film, especially that one scene at the end where they're close to the end before the coda that is just really great filmmaking. It reminded me a lot of Anatomy of a Fall in that aspect. And just the camera perspective that was from, the child, virtually the entire film, from the opening scene very blatantly to the final scene. I think we'll be talking about this throughout the entire year. I think Channing Tatum has a real shot here, and Gemma Chan as well, to get into the Oscar race. And just a brilliant performance by Mason Reeves. Like I was just blown away by her poise, and I think I even heard Marty say, like on the red carpet, she was just like a natural,
the
like
most
a pro.
Mature person ever. And she was scouted at a grocery store when she was 7 years old. She is 9 now, but like you would have not guessed it talking to her on the press line. You would have thought she is like an adult, the way that she was able to hold a conversation and just how well she held herself.
Wow.
Yeah,
incredible.
I think I'll jump in really quickly because I might be the most negative on it, but that's not me I'm not saying I'm negative. I'm positive. I land positively on it, but like, I think I left the theater not really knowing what to do with this movie. I remember thinking as I was watching it, this is a very, very well-made movie. I just don't know if I personally need this story right now. Which has developed over time. Like the more I think about it and the more conversations I have, I'm like, okay, I see how other people are internalizing it and how other people are processing it. And that's kind of helped shape my view on it, because even with that perspective, I still know it's a very well-made movie, and it is a very frustrating movie. This is one where I'm just like, characters, can you guys please get on the same page? Okay, guys, like just have the conversation. Like, Channing and Gemma talk with each other and then talk with her, and like the movie's 15 minutes long. Like, why can't that happen?
But that's what made it so real, though.
Exactly. That's intentional. That's how it's supposed to be, because it really is projecting a real conundrum when two parents have different ways of wanting to go about raising their kid, particularly with this really traumatic thing that they're trying to think of the well-being of the kid while trying to hold their relationship together. And it's a lot. And I just I think it's so much that I didn't know what to do with it when I watched it. So that's kind of where I've landed, or where I landed originally, but it has grown on me. I don't. I guess the other problem is do I recommend it to people? Yeah, you should go watch Josephine. That's gonna be a great time.
All
No, it's
new
not that kind
parents.
of movie.
All new parents watch Josephine.
Yeah,
There you
right.
go. New
I
parents,
wonder
for
if that's
sure.
why there has been no news that I've seen about it being acquired,
There's recent-
because you would think that a movie wins the audience award, it wins the the grand jury prize. You would think we would have heard before the festival was over that it got acquired, but it's not just that it's tough to watch, it's that it's tough to watch immediately.
Yeah.
Within the first
Oh, yeah.
5 minutes, that was one of the hardest sequences I've ever watched in any movie. And I wonder, A, if that's what's keeping somebody from acquiring it, if they're having those discussions, and B, I wonder if they're going to face any pressure if it does get acquired to soften that, which would sort of defeat part of the purpose of the film. But
Right.
I'll be curious to see what that conversation is, because it is difficult to watch, and it's so hard. I mean, the buy-in required of an audience to not just to walk out immediately and say this is too much is a lot. I wonder if that's what's kind of keeping maybe somebody back from acquiring it, because you would think it would have been a done deal by now.
Yeah. I think you're right, Dan. I think this movie,
I
as
think
good as it is,
there's. Oh,
Sorry, go ahead,
sorry.
Derek.
I was gonna say there was a film that came out in the 70s. Hello?
Uh-oh. It's a little laggy, Marty. If you want to log out and log back in really
Sorry.
quick.
You got it.
Yeah.
Um,
Derek.
yeah. So I think there's I think it's just it is a hard film to watch, but it's a hard film to market. It's really as good as it is. I mean, I would have put this in my top 3, or probably close to number 1 if I knew it was just going to be on someone's list. So wanted to be a little bit different in my list, but I do think it's a really hard movie to market, and I think studios are just trying to figure out how do we actually present this to a theatrical going audience. And to Dan's point, you can suggest to maybe dial down that first 5 minutes, but then you kind of just negate the whole rest of the movie. The movie this is a traumatic experience, not just for us as adults to watch, but an 8-year-old child is witnessing one of the worst things that can happen. And now we have to figure out how to teach an 8-year-old about the ripple effect of all of those things, because it's not just what she sees, it's everything that is attached to that. It's learning about relationships between men and women. It's learning about sex. It's learning about consent. It's learning about she's introduced to a whole new vocabulary that she can learn the words, but she doesn't actually understand what they mean. And how do you deal with that, right?
But it's also learning about the judicial system and how wild
100%.
that can be. When I mean, there is a pretty banger line from her. We all know the line, right? A pretty banger line. But that's all a part of.
I'm on the last 5 minutes. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
I thought I was on mute. My bad.
Leave me alone.
We're about to
God.
wrap up. So yeah, it's I think all those points are correct. Marty, you were going to say something?
So there's a 70s movie called Lipstick that kind of deals with a very similar discussion about assault and works. And am I muted? Hello?
No, sorry. I
Yeah.
accidentally clicked the button. You're good.
Okay. I didn't know. I just saw a little pop-up. But yeah, it deals with very much the similar topics. And it was very controversial when it came out at the time. It was very hard to market. And it's kind of I wouldn't say it's lost media, but it's one of the films that are a little bit harder to find, even though it had a fairly stacked cast with actors like Anne Bancroft in it. So I feel if anything, whoever gets this film can kind of look how lipstick was marketed and how they kind of went about and tried to learn from some of those mistakes and kind of use that as a jumping off point to get this film to audiences and try to open up that conversation without there trying to be, I guess, too much about, is this needed? Is because I feel like a film like Josephine does need to be seen, and conversations like this do need to happen. Maybe not for a child as young as Josephine's character, but I do feel like the world, you can't protect your child from everything.
Yeah.
And
Totally. Yeah, it's a tough one, but you know what, Matt, thank you for putting it your number one so that we could discuss it for a minute. And thank you all for having such great picks for your favorite 3 films of the festival. There's so much more that we could talk about, and honestly, we could be here all day, but if I'm not mistaken, I think Matt has a flight to catch, and I might be making him late for that. Apologize to Juju for me, Matt, but thank you guys so much for having this conversation, and thanks for everyone listening. Like I said, support us and follow us. The links will be in the description, and yeah, I guess we'll catch you guys on the next festival. So Derrick, Dan, Marty, Matt, thanks a lot, guys. We'll talk to you next time. Okay.